Let's begin with the cable. After 13 days, Buhari returns to Nigeria after medical trip to UK. From this report, President Buhari has returned to Nigeria after a trip to the UK for health-related reasons. The president on October 31 traveled to the UK for routine medical checkup. Bashir Ahmed, SA to the president on digital media, announced the return of the president in a tweet on Sunday night. While in the UK, the president had met with King Charles III, the first meeting between the two since the monarch ascended the throne. He also had a later meeting last night with ASUU Tinubu and the APC national chairman.
Well, welcome back, Mr. President. I'm always keeping to time, especially in recent times. Now that you're back, unfortunately, your first port of call was to have a sit-down with your party leadership and the candidate to get towards the campaigns to kick off officially. Of course, that will be with your nod, but all of those things were more or less ceremonial. We need to come back to the issue of state issues. Why is it that till now you have difficulty with people trying to buy fuel? It's not biting yet, but people are having it very hard to find a product. And when you find it, it's selling above what your government says is the regulated pump price. Yesterday, for the first time, I stepped into a station where I usually buy, even with these difficult times, and I was told that they started rationing their portion.
Is it rationing? How do you mean?
I'm not joking. No.
Oh, wait, hang on. You can't buy above a certain...
I can't buy above a certain amount.
Interesting.
Because they don't have enough product. So you need to invite Melekari. If they are not telling you, you need to invite Melekari and ask him what is happening, so you can continue at whatever level to administer what is needed to Nigerians, because that's what you were primarily voted to do, Mr. President.
All right, let's look at the next story. Troops repel attack on military post in Kaduna, recover grenades. The Kaduna government says troops of the Nigerian army have repelled an attack by bandits on a military post in Kankomi, Chikun LGA. In a statement on Sunday, Samuel Aruwan, Kaduna Commissioner for Intelligence, Security and Home Affairs, said the troops killed one of the attackers while others escaped with gunshot wounds. Aruwan said the incident occurred in the early hours of Sunday. He however said the troops, while exploring the withdrawal route of the attackers, found 3 bodies, that's corpses, adding that they were apparently locals killed by the fleeing bandits. The commissioner added that the troops recovered 1 AK-47 rifle, 7 AK-47 magazines, 7 rounds of ammunition, and 5 locally made grenades.
So they dropped their weapons and ran, and every time they run, we're unable to catch them. They just run and they run into hiding, and then we're quick to release the report. Last week from December Kaduna, they were quick to dispel a report that terrorists had invaded a certain locality, and now you're hearing that the military were able to repel attacks from a certain terrorist groups. So while it is good that we always have victory, I like to hear that, but sometimes it just doesn't add up. So of all of them that came shooting and guns blazing, it was only 1 that died, and then you found the bodies of 3 locals lying somewhere as you chased them and you were unable to catch them. It's just too convenient.
All right. Bandits demand 10 million naira for release of abductees' corpse after 3 million naira ransom. From this report, bandits have reportedly requested the family of Obadiah Ibrahim, an abductee, to pay 10 million naira before his corpse can be released to his family. Obadiah was said to have died in captivity in Kaduna State a few weeks ago. Kefas Obadiah, brother to the victim, told the point that the bandits already collected 3 million naira ransom. Said Ibrahim had died on Monday, and they informed us on Thursday. We asked for his corpse, and they said we should pay them 10 million if we wanted the corpse, that did not work for us free of charge. Kefas was quoted as saying,
"Well, this story is absolutely chilling and sad, but it talks of the human spirit, and whether alive or dead, we want our own back." I would hear my mom sometimes just mutter pain because she was unable to bury her father. Her father, according to stories that she told us during the Civil War, left the house, told them he was returning, and never came back. I don't know if she's got over it, but I can just try to imagine the trauma, and that's what these people are going through. So the criminals, they know how vulnerable we are with our loved ones, and every time they get them, because the states cannot guarantee our security, they use it as the opportunity to get the better of us. So after receiving 3 million, whether you killed him, whether he died of an infection, you still know that the people will be willing to raise 10 million. If it's just a skull that is left and they say it's our own, they will pay for it. We can't have a government that enjoys all the legitimacy and these things are happening.
Quite a sad tale. Abducted FGC Kebbi student gives birth in captivity. A 16-year-old abducted female student of the federal government college, Brandon Yari in Kebbi State, is giving birth in captivity, PR Niger is reporting. The student is said to be one of those abducted by government who attacked the school in June 2021. The government had invaded the school on motorcycles and engaged police officers in a crossfire, injuring some of the students, while one death was recorded. 3 days later, the army in a surveillance operation rescued 3 of the students. Another 2 rescued in August 2021. In October 2021, Kebbi State government said 27 students and 3 teachers abducted had regained their freedom. In January 2022, the Kebbi government said 30 and the teacher were also freed. According to PR Nigerian Sunday, sources said the female student, whose name could not be confirmed at press time, gave birth to a baby boy in the abductors' camp in the forest. The student was in school to learn, and now months down the line, abducted and forcefully turned to a mother.
I think the part that even worries me, when I saw this story yesterday afternoon, I read through it. I said, but we got reports that they were all out.
Could all be all. Now you have a rundown of how many times there were people released.
So apparently, someone was left behind and nobody made efforts to get that person. Maybe more persons were even left behind than we know. I hate to bang on a subject, but there's a responsibility government has. And those responsibilities in Nigeria, we continue to wonder why we feign them away for whatsoever reason. It doesn't make sense. So I don't even want to talk about the trauma. The other story we're talking of, the trauma that the family members will be going through now, just knowing it's dead and they want his corpse, and they still have to pay a certain amount to get his corpse back. They have to bury him. Now you have the family of this child just wondering, because now they may not even know if it's the girl that is pregnant or another one that is pregnant, unless they were directly communicated by the terrorist group. So you don't want to imagine the mental beatdown that Nigerians have to deal with every day when you have a government that enjoys all the perks and all the privileges of the office, but they're not delivering on what they should deliver. It's unfortunate.
Tinubu, Nigerians should not give up on APC, will do better. Bola Tinubu of the APC has asked Nigerians not to give up on the party. He's speaking on Saturday at the burial ceremony of a great Sakuridolu, one of Rotimi real governor of Ondo. Tinubu said the APC will do better to improve the lives of Nigerians. He said, thank God we're alive. There might be weaknesses and inadequacies in expectations. No one wants failure. You cannot give up on us. We will do better. We'll contribute to the improvement you might want.
Well, it's not the first time Tinubu is saying this, and clearly his remarks indict the Buhari administration. They try to dress it, they try to shrug it off, but they can't. When he attended the Cardiverse, he said the same thing. By the time Sanusi was done reading and reeling out all of these summaries as to our economy, oil, subsidy and stuff, when Tinubu came on stage, he said, these things, we are going to correct it. We'll do our best to correct it. So you're clearly saying that this same government that you helped to form, the candidate that you literally had to go drag out from his house, according to you, to become president of Nigeria, you did the rally, you did the mobilization, you got him to win. You could not influence him to the extent that if policies were killing and crippling the nation, they did a review. So you are indicting the APC administration. When you say you will do better, it will be difficult to get people to believe it, because the suffering, the hardship, and most of them sadly, is by their policies. That's the sad and most ridiculous thing about this whole system. Their policies allow people to be impoverished the way they are impoverished. It's unfortunate. So if Tinubu is saying so, I guess Nigerians will decide if they want to listen or not.
Iowa Forum to INEC impose punishment on politicians who engage in hate speech. Iowa Conservative Forum says hate speech will threaten the peaceful conduct of next year's elections. The statement issued on Sunday, Murtala Aliyu, Forum Secretary General, asked INEC to ensure that politicians who engage in hate speech get the harshest punishment. Aliyu explained that hate speech, in addition to the nation's security and economic challenges, is like adding fuel to a fire. He said most politicians are driven by blind ambition or plain hatred, since they sometimes fail to notice the alarming rise in tension and lawlessness as the electioneering campaign gathers momentum. He also mentioned that some politicians are willing to engage thugs to attack their opponents, spreading terror and fear.
Well, I don't know if INEC can effectively do that, because even if they were to point out persons, you need the same police to go and arrest them. So I think the call rather should be toward the police. But would the police be able to go and arrest, for instance, a governor that makes a very damning, inciting statement? The police would have to sidestep, think twice about it. And then even when they try, like do it the right way to get this person not arrested because he has immunity, but have a way to caution him about the things that he says. His supporters will come railing. No. Why are you doing that? If it's the other person, you're looking away. It's because it's from this region and that region. So, you see, our situation in Nigeria is supposed to be simple. But because of the way, the posturing we have taken, it becomes very difficult. In fact, practically all the politicians in this short period, they've carried out one form of hate speech or the other. Practically all of them. So how many would you arrest? How many would you prosecute? It will now be more of an individual that says, okay, you have defamed me. Let me go to court and seek redress. The matter will drag for as long as it's a drag, but someone is going to the court. But the issue should be with the police. The police should be doing this. Can they do it effectively with our kind of system? I doubt it. So perhaps we'll just have to live with this period till March, and then after March, it begins to come down. You have spikes in insecurity here and there, and then the new administration will now have to find its feet, and then we move on. But until we're serious about addressing some of the fundamentals, strengthening the police, look at the laws, strengthening the institutions, these things may just continue to fester.
All right. Attacks, army, police, DS operatives to be deployed to all INEC facilities. From this report, the INEC says joint teams of security operatives will be deployed to all facilities across the country. Recently, INEC offices in Abeokuta, south of LG of Ogun State, and Dede, south of Osun State, were attacked according to a statement issued on Saturday by Modibo Alkali, National Commissioner and Chairman Security Committee INEC. The decision on deployment of security operatives was taken after a meeting on Friday. And it looks like we've forgotten almost immediately the issue of INEC sensitive materials and the CBN. You know, it came to the fore at some point. Now it's all about security. Oh, let's not burn the offices. Let's not boggle them. Sensitive materials and the CBN. It's like that conversation is waiting for tomorrow.
No, maybe they're still talking with the CBN, because the last update we got was they were in talks with the CBN.
Yeah.
Because they realized that it was easier for them to store their materials at the CBN and stuff. So
who has the CBN?
We don't have the updates. Yeah, we know Emefiele's journey and activities. We do understand. I do understand, but I like to give them the benefit of the doubt that they're still in talks with Emefiele. On the second issue, which is the core issue from the paper, I recall when we had the 2019 election, I think, even the 2015 election, when the service lane of Aba Road was blocked for months.
All right.
Because of a scare of INEC office being attacked. I hope it will not be that kind of setup this time, because when they all deploy there, they will want to cut out of certain areas, and that becomes difficult for the people. But you realize that you just have some mad people that will not rest and think to use their resources in the right way. They will go and be bombing INEC facilities. It's a madness. Your action will make life difficult for some people. So I do understand the deployment so that they can fortify those facilities, but the harsh implication on the people that are just innocent going about their business. They just need to go through Aba Road. They need to go through local government secretariat and all of those things. You now have to manage yourself because they need to provide more security for those facilities. It's unfortunate.
The Punch is next. Petroleum import gulps, 17 trillion naira refineries stay dormant. The regime of Nigeria's President Buhari has spent over 16.9 trillion naira on the importation of not less than 132.24 billion liters of premium motor spirit, otherwise known as petrol, despite the president's campaign promises to halt PMS imports. Figures obtained from the National Bureau of Statistics and the NNPC Limited show that Nigeria relied majorly on petroleum imports since the current administration came on board. This is because the country's refineries have remained dormant for years, though the government is currently revamping the Port Harcourt and Warri refineries. The rehabilitation of the facilities to gulp about $2.9 billion. The continued importation of petrol and the humongous amount spent in subsidizing the commodity have been described as alarming by the industry operators and analysts, who called on the president to fully deregulate the downstream oil sector. It's quite a report this morning, but good thing we have our president, who is also the Minister for Petroleum. And
that I've not seen has been doing anything. I've not seen it to be up to the task in terms of delivering that transparency and integrity and being able to make the product available for all Nigerians. No,
is it his fault?
He said it, but you said you said it now that he's a minister, he's a head.
When you said, is he not?
Was it not what you said?
Is he not the minister?
So let's look at his performance now. His performance in almost 8 years has been abysmal. It's been terrible. Today you have spike. Today there is subsidy. Today we have removed subsidy. Tomorrow, it's over this trillion. Oh, we're going to fix refinery, remove subsidy. We want to fix it so that we can move the money we're using to pay certain groups to other sectors of the economy. The refinery will come back again. Oh, what is it? What is it with all the
is that just about blowing up your car by converting it from a fuel vehicle to a diesel gas-powered vehicle? What happened?
It's interesting that even Oshiba Ajo, my guy, is not even talking about it anymore. Because all of those things they weren't even a rabble rouse. They were just propaganda because they knew that it was their failure. They clearly knew that they had not done well and they were pushed to the corner, so they needed to say something. Oh, CNG, compressed natural gas, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, they still intend to import even more. While on one hand, they are hoping that Dangote refinery, when it comes on stream, will be able to reduce to a large extent demands for petrol vis-a-vis the refineries that they say they are working on and how all of those things will come together. They still plan that at least mid-2023, they will still be importing. So we're not out of the woods anytime soon, at least not with this group of people.
All right, God bless Nigeria. FG slashes police budget proposal by 92.9 billion naira amidst insecurity. The FG slashed the budget proposed by the Nigeria police force by almost 93 billion naira, situation which the security outfit has warned may frustrate its efforts towards effectively tackling the growing insecurity in the country. The police blame the reduction largely on the envelope budgeting system of the government and urge the National Assembly to exclude the MPF from it. In a presentation made to the National Assembly, the IG of police declared the slashing of the outfit's budget, warning of its impact on the security outfit and its consequence for the country. Furthermore, he said the overhead cost estimate as computed under the envelope budgetary system is grossly inadequate to meet the operational, logistics, and administrative requirements of the force in the year 2023. And this might mean we keep buying files when we go to the police stations. We keep paying for this, and then you have a call, you put across, they tell you to pay for fuel for the van, before an emergency is responded to, and the rest of them.
Well, first I say it more like a bureaucratic issue. That sum would seem large, but you have to look at the entire budget for the police.
All right.
Before you can tell 92 billion of what impact it would have on the police operations on a daily. But you also know the Buhari style. The Buhari style is more of boots on ground than civil security authorities doing the job. That's what we're saying in Buhari's administration. So
did it begin with him?
It's more with him.
But did it start with him?
No. It's more with. I can't even remember how many times I saw soldiers in Rivers State or in this thing during Goodluck Jonathan's administration or during. Yes, we had hot places and we had more deployment there. But the Buhari administration, he has more boots on ground in this administration. That's his style. And if you look at how much they've spent on the army in particular, in 3 years, 4 years, is humongous. And we're still where we are. So it's. Well, there's a style, and somehow the style influences a whole lot of other issues. But I feel this is bureaucratic.
Let me be able to
address it.
A bit on what you said about we're still where we are. I mean, Lai Mohammed speaking some time ago talked about the fact that bombs are not going off like they used to. Insecurity is now a thing of the past. I could go on and on with those headlines that were so juicy back in the day that you'll grab a paper or two to read up what's behind it. So you don't believe any of that?
Well, it's a good thing that bombs are not going off any longer. We have reduced suicide bombings. Has anyone seen escaping Kabul airport? It was a chilling watch. My goodness. You have Al-Qaeda commanders say they had thousands of suicide bombers that they deployed to fight the Americans. You just chill. So let's come back. So
I wonder why you brought up that movie Break and then
because you would understand that for some of this jihad thing, suicide bombing is like, yes, it's a sacrifice to whoever is sending me, and I have semen virgins that will be there to massage me when I arrive and blah blah blah, whatever that means.
This guy is a clown.
Whatever that means. So it's a good thing we don't have suicide bombings and bombs going off here and there, but farmers cannot go to their farms.
All right.
Children are abducted from schools. In the southeast, it's become a hotbed now because of, well, some say separatist groups, some say separatist group that have been hijacked by criminals and stuff. So you have more problems. You have terrorist groups raiding communities, collecting taxes from communities illegally. Well, what's awful, in my opinion.
All right, let's move on to the next, which, should I say, will shock some people. ISWAP bans Lake Chad traded from naira transactions. Report. A Boko Haram splinter group, Islamic State West Africa Province, has ordered farmers and fishermen in the Lake Chad region to stop transacting in naira. The move by the terror group was a result of the announcement by the CBN of to redesign the 200, 500, 1,000 naira notes. The CBN governor, Gordon Emefiele, last month noted that the new notes will be released to the public on December 15. All right. Also talked about the old and new notes circulating together till January 31. A report on Saturday by the counterinsurgency expert and security analyst in the Lake Chad region, Zagazola Makama, stated that the insurgents were now receiving the West African CFA franc to replace the naira as a currency of trade in that area. You recall Gumi had said something about this, though he talked about the dollar instead, and here we are now.
And they also said it's going to happen. This is the one we're hearing. How about the ones that are already demanding that, no, we don't want 10 million naira, we want it in dollars? And then you have a squeeze in the forex market.
Yeah.
So families now will now literally go and sacrifice somebody, and we'll cut the blood. Give us dollars, don't give us naira, so that we can go and rescue the next person. It's a system failure. That's what it is.
Well, we didn't intend to paint that gory picture Kelly just did. Okay.
Please don't sacrifice anybody.
Let's go on.
I was being metaphorical, please.
I wonder how many persons would know. Let's move. Don't say anything again, because I know you very well. Restructuring, main task before next President Afenifere, others. The Yoruba social political group Afenifere and ASUU and the John National Congress have said whoever emerges as next president of Nigeria must be ready to restructure the country. They insisted that each state must be allowed to manage its resources while contributing a percentage of the FG, as opposed to the current system. Afenifere leader Adebanjo, in an interview, said, when we are talking about true federalism, it has to be federal. That's what we had. That much of Owalo would be able to do what he did. It's not a sectional matter. Also, the Anese, through Chief Dr. Chidozie Ogbonnaya, said political leaders were united in adopting the jaundiced constitution handed over by General Abdulsalam Abubakar, with hope that as the democracy progressed, there will be vital amendments to the constitution. Otherwise, the Nigerian constitution is a source of a national calamity. In the same vein, the INC, through Ezonebi, quite long, said the group would only support a presidential candidate committed to restructuring.
Okay, so I want to try, because I've been accused of being biased, so I'll leave out names. Yeah, Afenifere, they say there are now sections. One say we agree, one say they don't agree. You've endorsed a candidate. Another group say, oh, okay, they endorse a candidate because they feel in the spirit of fairness it should go to a certain region. That's why they're supporting the candidate, and then they say other things, and then you have other candidates endorsing other candidates and so. But in as much as a look at the plans of these candidates cannot guarantee that that's what they will do, it gives you an insight as to their posturing and what they will do if they get into government, so that you can hold them when they begin to fail. But if you look at the candidates so far, that their documents are out there that are actively saying they'll restructure, you can just tell the ones that you can hold in terms of restructuring. It's just clear, you can just tell the one that you hold in terms of restructuring. So you see these groups, sometimes they need to just come out, do a press conference, go back home and sleep, and continue their politics. That's how I see this. Because if we're being practical and we're being fair, you have the candidates that have clearly articulated plans for restructuring. Some claim that they have the documents. If they win, they're going to present it to the National Assembly and stuff. That's where we begin to assess who exactly has more interest to restructure Nigeria or not. But of course, these socio-political groups, socio-cultural groups will continue to say what they want to say, and behind they play politics. It's not unexpected.
NAPTAN backs ASUU, warns FG. The national president of the Parent Teacher Association of Nigeria, Haruna Danjuma, has condemned the payment of half salaries for October 2022 lecturers in public universities by the FG, describing it as tantamount to pushing them to the wall. The national president of the association, Haruna Danjuma, said this in an interview on Saturday, noted that the initial agreement between ASUU and the Ministry of Education and Labour and Employment was that full salaries for the month the lecturers were on strike will be paid in due course after the industrial action was called. According to Danjuma, the government action was not only unjust but could also result in another strike.
Well, perhaps because they're in court, it will be difficult for them to want to go on strike now. And then the Speaker of the House of Representatives, who has tried a lot in mediation efforts, I'm also the one to consider him before they proceed on strike. He has assured, which I'm not sure anything will come out of, because it's President Buhari, that the president would do the needful soonest. I doubt anything tangible will come out. So at this point, perhaps we want to see what the courts would say in interpretation, and then going forward. The courts will not give them the kind of address that they want, solution that they want, but I think they're since the government took them to the court and they had to appeal it, that's the option available for them now.
All right. Thanks so much.